Hey everybody, welcome back to the Kirby Triple Deluxe playthrough. We are going to part 4, which actually has one of my favorite tracks in the game, musically speaking. It's a spoopy doopy circus, and we're actually not hearing the music right now because we're not in the circus yet, but this song's actually pretty good too. I mentioned this in passing earlier, but this is probably my favorite Kirby soundtrack as a whole. I mean, they all have great music, and, like, half of the soundtrack is remixes in every game anyway, but, this one sticks with me in a lot of ways that a lot of the other ones don't, and it's just one of my favorites, so. Yeah, so this is the circus power-up, which is probably the strangest power-up, probably in Kirby history, really. Like, it's bizarre. So, all of Kirby's attacks are, like, circus things. Like, he throws juggly things, and he makes balloons, and they're effective, it's just bizarre. Like, you get...
unorthodox. I would say unorthodox.
That Meta Knight balloon, that was great.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool balloons that you can make. Like, there's a Meta Knight one, there's one with the HAL logo, that's really, really rare. There's the Nightmare Orb from Adventure, and I believe also Magalore from Return to Dreamland is one. But there's a set, like, rarity, so... Like, it's like I don't know what the percentages are, but chances are I'd have to sit there and spawn nothing but balloons for 3 minutes in order to show all of them, so screw that. What's also cool about this level is that, like, on top of just, you know, being traditional haunted house stuff, you get these sections here where you go through a field and it temporarily takes your power away. And you're given kind of a Kirby's Dream Land 1 section where you've got nothing but your basic inhalation abilities, and thankfully they give you your power back, so, you know, nothing like that, but
Okay. So I was gonna say, it's a little cheap if they just take your power away, but they give it back at the end of the section. That's pretty clever.
Yeah, it's like checking in your luggage before going in the airport and get your bag back at the end.
Yeah, but the thing is that I feel like one of the reasons why I really liked the Hypernova thing is that the suction and spinning out part of Kirby's abilities, you know, the powers get all of the spotlight because, you know, they're the cool things. But in terms of gameplay, being able to suck things up and spit them out is actually very versatile and fun in its own way. And the powers have gotten the focus ever since.
Would that Waddle Dee have taken the key and killed itself if he hadn't gotten to it?
Yep. They all do that. Like, whenever you see the little yellow monkey Waddle Dee, you have to chase after them because they will, like, jump off an edge or into spikes or lava or whatever. And you need to kill them.
They would utilize 3D to escape Kirby's clutches.
Yeah. So you need to make sure that you kill it to get the key. Otherwise, you don't get, you know... well, sometimes it's just like, oh, you miss food or whatever.
I'm
and
sorry,
it's no big deal.
You know, for such a happy-go-lucky game, that's dark.
Oh, of course it's dark. It's Kirby.
You have a goddamn black hole in your gut.
It's Kirby. It's incredibly dark.
Yeah, you see, but John, here's the thing. It's a black hole, but if you go by Kirby Squeak Squad logic, Kirby can only hold like 5 bubbles in there. Otherwise, oh no, there's no more space. You know,
yes, but they're bubbles of infinite size.
Yeah, but they can only hold one thing in them.
Yeah, but they can hold any one thing, regardless of size.
Sounds exactly what a Kirby stooge would say.
And also, you got, like, your traditional mirror puzzles in this level. Like, oh, you gotta look in the mirror instead of in the real world, which has been done in a number of different...
Even Sonic Adventure had that.
Sonic Adventure... Luigi's Mansion is the one that pops into my head first, but that's just because the mirror room in that one gave me a lot of trouble because it had those little...
the grabby ghosts.
The grabby ghosts. And, you know, it was hard to aim at those when you were trying to do that backwards. Although, I guess just because that's in a 3D space, it makes sense. But
it stuck out to me in Sonic Adventure because it was one of the cases where Amy Rose had a completely unique stage within one of the stages.
Yeah. Although, that section wasn't very fun. Nearly all of the stuff that's unique to Amy isn't very fun in Sonic Adventure.
Well, if it's not fun, it's also really short.
Excuse me. Hot Shelter.
I'm talking specifically Twinkle Park.
Okay, well, nothing can forgive Hot Shelter in that stupid section where it's on top of.
Almost nothing
colored
related
squares
to
inside
Hot
the slots.
Shelter is good, mostly because it's the one stage that has no Sonic design to it.
Yeah, but the only way I was able to even beat that section as a kid was to knock Zero off of the ledge, and he would just kind of try to jump up, and he wouldn't get up because his AI is awful. And then I could put the blocks in the spots in peace, you know. So
I never had any trouble with the blocks, but that's just me.
Well, you have to remember
Well, it's
I
just
suck.
slow,
so yeah.
Well, I'm good at dealing with precise things in a pinch, so I didn't really have any problem.
Vivi, why are you the boss of this world?
Getting the blocks to go where they needed to go while also avoiding the damn robot. The thing about Zero is you just have to knock him down with your hammer and he'll leave you alone for a couple seconds. So
I think I remember not being able to find one of them because they're like hidden in the rafters or something like that.
There's one up in the rafters.
Yeah, you have to also remember I was really dumb as a kid. Like, well, I'm really dumb now, but it was worse before, if you can imagine that. So. Yeah.
I think I might have subconsciously remembered something that I read in a magazine when I got to that point, because when Sonic Adventure first came out,
turn the game off.
When Sonic Adventure first came out, there was a guide in the in it. I was wondering if that was instant death. Now I know.
Yeah.
But there was one of those strategy guides in a gaming magazine that just gave you a very brief summary of the things that you had to do in order to beat a level. Crash Bandicoot Warped had one. Crash Bandicoot 2 might have had one. I know Final Fantasies 5 and 6 had one, had both, and I drooled over both of those because I couldn't get my hands on the game at the time. But,
so it wasn't like a full strategy guide, but kind of like
a list of stages, objectives, the basics of how to obtain those objectives, and in Final Fantasy's case, a boss list with some very basic strategies for how to beat them. Which in Final Fantasy V's case was a godsend because it listed out which status effects worked on which bosses.
Oh man, that's one thing I actually really miss about video game magazines. I know that they're completely obsolete in today's world, but there was something about
almost obsolete
picking up a
in today's
Nintendo
world.
Power and then reading about like a section of a game that like I didn't even own. Like it's just like, oh wow, here's how you get through the third dungeon in Oracle of Ages. I don't own that game, but this is still pretty neat, I guess. I don't know.
You got to enjoy the game somewhat vicariously through the maps and the screenshots and the strategies. Yeah, it was a fun thing to do. And then on the occasion when you actually did have the game, it was actually it actually saved you a trip to the store to buy a strategy guide.
Ted, don't like Fighter because you can't play Street Fighter.
No, I'm too good for Fighter. I
didn't like Fighter as much as I thought I was going to.
It's one of those where it's too complicated, I think.
Well, I've played Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero, and I know for a fact that fighting game mechanics and side-scroller mechanics just don't really mix as well as they could.
Well, Fighter is the thing about Fighter is that if you know what you're doing, it is one of the most effective abilities in the game for bosses. But I don't ever feel like I can do anything specifically. I kind of just sort of mash buttons and then attacks happen. So I'm basically your little brother playing Street Fighter.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's because you don't know how to play Street Fighter.
Well, that is... You say that, but that is exactly how it feels to play Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero.
Are we ever going to do that game? Because please,
No.
Can we not?
If we are, okay, well, you said no, I'm going to say
Ah, you asshole.
And it's going to be PS1.
God.
It has to be PS1.
PS1. Oh, that's the one with the terrible cutscenes, right?
Terrible?
Well,
How dare you?
Well,
Those
all
are a
versions
work of
have
art.
the cutscenes, just a different version of it. It's kind of like comparing the N64 version of the
Mega Man Legends.
No, I'm thinking of Shadows of the Empire to the PC version, which has the actual animated cutscenes, whereas the N64 version had still frame stuff.
Did it have the voice acting still, or was it just
No,
like
text?
Oh, it was text. Ah, man.
No, I basically nothing on the N64 did voice acting well. If it had voice acting, it was horribly compressed and terrible to listen to.
Resident Evil 2.
I'd also say Conquer. Conquer was remarkably clear for the N64, but
That was
that's
that was like
that's
one of
an
the
outlier.
last N64 games.
Yeah, that was pretty late in.
Yeah, games like that were rare.
I get it.
It's like, yeah, but most ports had really bad compressed voice acting because they were designed with an amount of voice acting that assumed a CD.
You know, I actually should go back and, like, because I've got a number of licensed N64 games, like, in particular, Rugrats in Paris, which is terrible. Don't play it. But I
Now you have
gotta
to play it for the channel.
but I gotta go back and wonder, because they did have a decent amount of voice acting, and they got the actors from the show, so, like, the acting's probably fine. But I gotta wonder how the sound quality sounds by today's standards.
I think the only actually good Rugrats game is the one basic platformer, and that
You know-
one's still kind of
Wait,
awkward.
one more time? What?
The one basic Rugrats platformer on the PlayStation was pretty decent.
Which one?
The one that's just Rugrats, I'm pretty sure.
What the fuck? What are you smoking? That game's a piece of shit.
Okay, John.
I don't mean it's an amazing game that you should go back to in the year of our
It's not
Lord
even good.
2016. I mean, it was just functional.
Hey,
No, it
hey,
wasn't.
John, do you want your heart to be broken? On Game Boy Color, there is a Rugrats Metroidvania, stage-based Metroidvania game. You should go and play it. It's
Wait, what?
awful.
A Rugrats Metroidvania?
Sort of. It's stage-based. Each stage you play a different baby, but each stage is open, kind of like a Metroidvania, and you have to find items to progress. It's bizarre.
So it's kind of like a middle ground Metroidvania, like the original Shantae.
Okay, I'm going to shamelessly shill SGB for a second here, but I played Rugrats last year with Elliot. You watch that video and you tell me again if that's even an adequate
Well,
platform.
okay,
game.
my perspective might have been skewed because I played in Mastered
Yes, it was really
Rascal
skewed.
back
In
at
fact,
the
I think you
time.
might be on drugs.
I played in Mastered Rascal back in the day, and after that, anything is playable.
At least it's not Glover. You know.
I never played Glover.
Don't.
I played Clover back in the day. Just don't.
It's not like it's even terribly awful. It's just a waste of space. You know.
Yeah, a lot of 3D platformers around that time were a waste of space.
Uh,
Like,
But we'll still play Croc.
well, Croc was designed around his control scheme.
I can still play Croc. Yeah.
Rascal is the same control scheme, but not designed around it. With a gun.
with a gun.
So not only do you have to control your character with tank controls, you also have to aim a gun in third person with tank controls.
Ugh, that
In
sounds
3D.
terrible.
And,
Yeah,
you know,
see that?
Resident
That's the
Evil
sound of
got
someone throwing up in their mouth.
Resident Evil and Tomb Raider got around that by having your characters aim automatically. Rascal does not do that. It does not do that at all.
Okay, so fun fact: this boss that we're about to be fighting right now is the sister of the main villain from Canvas Curse, which would be interesting if Canvas Curse was a good game, but it's not. I know people are gonna fight me on this because a lot of people love Canvas Curse, but I can't stand Canvas Curse. It control. I can't. I hate.
But
the
why
controls.
is she a black mage?
I don't know.
Red
No,
mage.
Red
yeah.
Mage, Red Mage, Red Mage.
Well, black mage wearing a red
The
mage
mythical
hat.
It's the mythical fourth black waltz.
Yeah. This one just hands out coffee and donuts.
Oh my
and
god,
just
guys!
asks how the other ones are doing.
This was a prelude to Splatoon because there's colors in it. Yeah, it was Nintendo totally telling us that it existed. Or I guess maybe Paper Mario Color Splat. Okay, so at this point, I didn't know that trampoline attack existed. So I was like, "What the fuck did I just do?"
What did I do?
How do I
So now
do
you're
I
gonna
do what I
see
do?
Yeah,
That's
so
like-
now you're gonna see me try to use that to actually attack her to varying degrees of success.
Well, it's
That's kind of like it's kind of like the Sonic's bouncer attack in Smash, really, where you just sort of spawn a springboard beneath you.
Yeah. I think the big thing about the circus ability is that you get a lot of invincibility frames during certain attacks. So it allows you to be risky if you are used to it. I guess is the big thing. Like the easiest one to get the invincibility frames on is the balloon attack. So you're invulnerable very slightly during that point.
Oh no, you're slightly obstructing my view.
Has this ever been like an issue in any game where they try to do it? Like, because I swear, like,
No.
maybe once...
Even in Mario Kart, where like a blooper slimes up your screen, and it's just like, oh no, I can sort of see with my peripherals still.
Well, you want to know what the fun thing about that is? Even in the first game where the blooper item appeared, which was DS, I believe, you could blow on the microphone and it would go away quicker.
Yeah, you could.
And you had a map on the bottom screen.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you could play Mario Kart DS basically looking at only the bottom screen and be okay. So
I think the only time that a blooper obscuring the screen situation really becomes a problem is when there's a really complex array of obstacles that kind of need to see the whole screen to navigate, but that only really happens in like high difficulty Mario Kart tracks.
Yeah, like maybe in a Rainbow Road it would give you shit, but
you know what they should
That
do?
depends on the Rainbow
They should have
Road.
something like that in a bullet hell. Make it happen.
No.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's already been done, to be honest.
Yeah, probably. There's like what 50 Tohos, so you know.
50 Tohos and 600 Toho fan games that are officially licensed somehow.